I was very friendly with the factory staff, and one of the guys grabbed me and he was like, "Your company's going to hell in a handbasket." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And then I ended up spending a summer, investigating, and I know it was very unpleasant. I had to extract delinquent family members from the organization that were doing inappropriate
Wow.
things, and it wasn't a fun situation. Then afterwards, we struggled to get a good management structure in place. People think it's easy to get somebody to run a company, and it's not. Especially a failing company, you can't. It's like there's not just great CEO. There's no one. The talented CEOs of the world don't want to go join a failing company.
Family business. Yeah.
I hated it
Yeah.
because, I was like, I wanted to, I didn't get to go have fun when I was in my 20s, and I couldn't relate to human. People thought it was crazy. They'd say, you out on a date with a girl when you're like 23, and they say, "What do you do for work?" She's working in marketing or something,
Yeah.
or, whatever, starting a legal, whatever they're doing. And you're like, "Oh, I'm restructuring a company that's in bankruptcy." And they're like, "Sure you are." Yeah, it was funny in the beginning. I was like, well, I got to have security for the people I care about. And then at a certain point, Sigma grew, and I said, well, now I'm just creating security for people I've never met before. It's like, not to be weird, but I'm like, and initially I just wanted to be, I was my number one, and I used to meet with people, and I would say, what do you guys want to, I'm talking frontline factory workers, supervisors. I said, where do you guys want this company to end up? And they say, isn't that up to you? And I was like, well, it's going to be it's going to get crazy if we want to keep growing. And my goal was just to make a nice life for us.
Yeah.
Um, and I think we've done that. But I would say if you guys want the thing to grow, we can do it. We can figure out how to do it. But I want to know that's what you guys want, because it's definitely two different worlds. At the end of the day, you learn in business, you have to keep growing because, somebody said, I don't know who said it, but it's like you're either growing or you're dying. So you have no choice. I thought I had a choice. Oh, let's just stay small and calm and,
Didn't work.
it doesn't go that. I mean, yeah.
What is Sticker Mule? What does it do? And then yeah, jump into like what kind of started putting gas on the fire when you got that up and running.
I say, I'd say internet's favorite custom printing company, easiest way to buy custom printing. We started with stickers, but we sell up to 10 products now. And, our original innovation was just that we made it incredibly easy to buy. So when we first started and we started growing, people said, "Oh, you must be destroying the competition. They're doing terrible." And I'd say, no, they actually, these people, people blog and they would say their numbers. And I go, no, they're up 25%. We're just up more. The reason they say, well, how are you growing so fast and you're not eating into competition? I say, because the majority of people that buy from us never bought before. Because what happens is when it's, people can't remember this, but prior to Sticker Mule, prior to like internet, it would take forever to buy custom stickers. You lower the barrier entry and people start buying that never would have considered buying before. So that was our big innovation was, just making buying incredibly easy. Somebody asked me one day, said, "What's your business strategy?" And they said, "Well, you don't seem like you have one." And I said, "Yeah, I don't know. I just go up BS." I said, "Yeah, we have one. It's called Get Better Every Day." I remember working in a dysfunctional company, and I said, "You've probably worked in, everyone's worked in dysfunction. Most people, not everyone, but have worked in dysfunctional companies." I said, inside Sticker Mill, I said, do you see a lot of dysfunction?" They said, "No." I said, I said, "Everyone for the most part comes here every day and tries to do something useful to help make the company better every day." And I said, "That's not normal. Did you experience that?" I didn't experience that in my prior life, my prior job. And I said, and they said, "No, you're right. Like, there's generally a great degree of dysfunction inside most companies. But, our secret was we don't have a dysfunction, and we just come to work every day, and everyone's constantly trying to do something productive, maybe something small, maybe something big, but people are just constantly trying to do something productive. And when that's your attitude, things just tend to improve." Your first 5 people will define the culture. So you have to be very careful with your first, for a department, you have to be very careful with your first group, right? So if you're going to make mistakes in hiring. If you remove your mistakes and you get a team, a core group of people that all embrace the same values, they're going to just kind of set the tone for new people. And they're either going to indoctrinate new people, right? Or they're going to expel new people. Like they're going to, once you have a core unit that feel, I just think this is the way they think, and somebody comes in that doesn't fit that mold, they're either going to convince them to join, or they're going to call me and say this person shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So, but like we went through this establishing departments, right? Because we had to build everything from scratch. And it's like, if you have a department where it's like a mixed bag, right? Where you have like 2 people with this set of values, 2 people with another set of values, and one other person that's got another set of values. And it's hard to build. Yeah, it doesn't scale. I say judge people primarily on the basis of attendance, which isn't something everyone realizes to do, because in manufacturing and manufacturing environments, people judge people on the basis of silly stuff like this guy's can't perform his job. This person's slow. Actually, there's a big problem. This person is slow. Well, rather than like picking on people for being slow, why don't you, if you're judging people on the basis of attendance, why don't you think about how to improve the process so even the slow people can be faster?
Great way of thinking.
And so we have, but you write that down and you say judge people primarily on the basis of attendance, and everyone adopts that, and people start thinking differently. And then I just got confidence that I don't have to keep repeating myself and say it. Just they have the document and they think that way, and they've seen it. They've had years of being with us and seeing that this way of thinking works. So they like it. I was very anti-social media. As I got deeper into Twitter, I was just like, this place is horrible. I just saw all the bad design. I have a hobbyist interest in a lot of things, so I'm sort of a hobbyist designer, so I understand design principles. And I was like, I saw that a lot of the design decisions they made were pushing people in a bad direction. So I realized Twitter's sort of a game, and so and people were like playing characters on the game, and the goal the goal of the game is to become the most popular player. People they didn't even know they're playing a game, but they're playing a game. They're trying to dominate the game, and the game is bound by the mechanics of the game. And the mechanics of Twitter were you have to be nasty, in order to succeed. So all these people that want to succeed in the game. Now, there's a lot of people that didn't even know they were playing a game, that weren't even trying to win. They're on there, they call, and they're floating around. But the people that decided to play, had no choice but to play within the game mechanics of Twitter. And the game mechanics of Twitter were you have to be nasty. I only created one company and it succeeded, right? And people thought I was nuts when I did that. People mocked it, stick everyone in the beginning. It doesn't sound sensible now, but people mocked it, and it succeeded. Didn't have any investors other than my friend who was 80 years old. Like I said, our number one principle is time's finite, move fast. That's kind of baked into my brain now. But I want to do more. Time's limited on Earth, and I wanted to do something more challenging, more interesting, and see if I could do that. Do the most impactful thing you can do. That's like another thing. We kind of are always thinking. And so when I scan the world, it's like we think about that. What's the most impactful thing I can do with my time? But this was, in terms of like what my skill set is and what my resources are, I couldn't think of anything better to do with my time. Everyone's so obsessed with privacy, and I get it. But like through the majority of human history, privacy wasn't a thing. If you interacted with another human, you did it face to face. People knew who you were. They could find you. You interacted with your neighbor. You couldn't like put a mask on and go insult your neighbor. And, and it's the fact that we didn't have privacy for the vast majority of human history is like why we had, much more civil interactions. All of a sudden people are obsessed with privacy, you take away privacy. And you got people with masks on going around harassing. So you don't even know people are on Twitter harassing, or on Facebook. They harass their neighbors, their friends through fake names. You could never do that if you had to actually do it face to face. Yeah.
It's like road rage, right? It's easier to like cut someone off. You don't see that there's a human in the car, and you just see.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
I get that 100%.
I tell kids in general, try stuff, try more stuff. Don't be scared to try stuff. There's not a huge separation between you and people that seem fancy or seem super intelligent. Like people think that there is, but there really isn't. Like when you're a kid and you're like, I don't know, you think I'm this person, and then the successful people are just like superhumans.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's not the case there, but you do have to figure out what it is that makes them successful and take on those qualities. But like once you figure it out.
Biggest lesson for me, and I think for our audience that I'm distilling, there are a lot of good micro lessons and thoughts and strategies. But just be a student of the game, right? And just learn whatever you're into, and you can figure it out. And I think that's really human, that anybody can gravitate to that lesson and say, I can, that's something worth implementing in my life and business. So.
If you enjoy this podcast, please make sure to subscribe. And to stay updated on everything that the Action Catalyst is up to, make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Action Catalyst Podcast, and on Twitter at Catalyst_Action. And thanks for listening.